I just saw UFC 280, and it was a pretty damn good card with some pretty wild fights. And the most controversial fight on that card was the matchup between Sugar Sean O'Malley and Petr Yan. And everybody thinks Petr Yan got robbed. And guess what? Under the new judging criterion of the UFC that's been instituted over the past 6 or 7 months, you're wrong. O'Malley absolutely won that fight under the current official judging criteria of the UFC. Do I think Sugar Sean O'Malley won that fight myself in the way that the UFC was judged for 20 plus years and the way it should still be judged? Yes, I think Petr Yan won that fight. Did Petr Yan officially win that fight due to UFC's current new judging criteria? No. Now, not a lot of my viewers watch my UFC content, but whatever. Maybe this might reach a wider audience given that this is current. But I made a video a few months back called UFC Judging is About to Get Worse and It's Your Fault. And the reason why is people used to get mad at lay and pray wrestlers. People used to get mad at clinch wrestlers. People used to get mad at the frequency of lack of engagement in fights. And the answer to this was to change the judging criterion so that almost everything you've ever been told as a fan about judging is now completely moot. It's gone. It doesn't matter. Aggression does not matter. Grappling does not matter. Octagon control and control time on the ground does not matter. You are not going to see a fight scored on any of those criteria ever again until the rules are changed back. There is only one criteria that matters, and it's not even significant strike count, even though Sugar Sean O'Malley did get more significant strikes than Petr Yan. There is only one criteria that matters anymore, and that is a nebulous concept called damage. Now, damage has no official criterion whatsoever. Unlike a significant strike or unlike control time, unlike octagon control time that are all stats you can measure, damage is not a stat you can measure. Damage is a subjective concept that has to do with, did the guy get rocked, or was he cut, or did he get hit harder than the other guy? So if you look at the scorecards, you got two judges give round 1 to Sean O'Malley. All 3 judges give round 2 to Petr Yan, and all 3 judges give round 3 to Sean O'Malley. Now in round 1, both Yan and O'Malley knocked each other down. And those were the pivotal moments in the fight where damage occurred, which you could have scored it a 10-10 because each man got a knockdown, but they didn't. One judge gave it to Yan, I guess maybe based on the fact that Yan actually took O'Malley down twice in that round, while O'Malley landed a couple more significant strikes and also got a knockdown. And the strikes were favored over 2 minutes of control time because grappling doesn't matter anymore. Period. It's not the way I want it. It's obviously not the fans who thought Yan was robbed, not the way they want it. But under the rules as they are written now, the only thing that matters is damage. Period. And the big clinch knee that opened up a giant cut on Petr Yan's face in round 3 meant O'Malley won that round, despite being grapple fucked all over the place. And because O'Malley was unable to land damage in round 2, Petr Yan won that whole round. But even though Petr Yan grappled the fuck out of O'Malley to what should have been a 30-27 victory, grappling doesn't count anymore. Period. Everybody who's a wrestle fucker is not going to win any fights anymore. Talia Santos just beat the fucking brakes off of Valentina Shevchenko. But guess what? Having your opponent's back and fishing for rear naked chokes for 3 minutes at a time doesn't win you rounds anymore. Slamming Sean O'Malley all around the cage doesn't matter if you don't posture up and don't land strikes, and apparently this has not been communicated to fighters, then unless you are punching your opponent while you're laying on top of him, you are wasting your fucking time using top control, using top grappling. Chest pressure, shoulder pressure, all the shit that used to work to control fighters and keep them from getting up, now just loses you rounds, unless you can at least strike first, or strike after, or get ground and pound during. So no, Sugar Sean O'Malley, under the current rule set, won 29-28. Under the rule set as of just a couple of years ago, throughout UFC's history, Petr Yan won that fight 30-27. So remember, when I said that the judging is about to get worse, there are going to be more robberies and more controversy, and it's your fault. This is why. And I should probably link it in the description if you're curious. It's a much longer video than this, but if you'd like to see my in-depth explanation of why shit like this is going to happen very frequently, why the Petr Yan robbery is about to happen way more often in the UFC, I detailed that, and I also detailed what I think should have been the rules changes. And the thing is, just to mention them in brief, forward aggression should be favored, okay? Grappling should still be favored, but if you are not landing a strike in 10-20 seconds, stand them up immediately. Now, a lot of grappling fans don't want to see that, but look, if grappling is a waste of time, then you need to be posturing up and throwing Mark Coleman hammer fists from guard instead of trying to wrestle fuck people, because wrestling scores no points. And I don't mean less points, I mean no points. The judges do not and will not give a fuck about grappling. Jiu-jitsu, wrestling, clinch, Greco-Roman, doesn't matter. It's worthless. Mixed martial arts is over. We are in the age of kickboxing with takedowns, okay? That's all that matters. The current rule set favors the fuck out of kickboxers. I cannot stress this enough. I'm sorry I'm repeating myself, but that is the way the rules are. And I also listed in that video that I'm linking in the description why damage is a subjective bullshit term that's going to lead to more bullshit based on who gets more cuts opened up, okay? Who has more scar tissue is going to be heavily screwed. So, yeah, you guys who bet on fights, if you see a guy like Nate Diaz or a guy like, who else has a shitload of scar tissue? Brian Ortega, bet against him, because damage is going to go against them when they're leaking blood all fucking over the place, okay? Because that's damage now. Just opening cuts is all that matters. Or rocking your opponent, or scoring a knockdown, which should matter. But the previous other ones should not. Thanks for watching.